Us too. It's great to be together this morning. Hey, Mark, good to see you again. Uh, so this is our third opportunity that we've had to present a little meditation session and give us all an hour of chill. I'm Jeff Gamer, class of '84. We're broadcasting from the Meditation for Regular People studio up here in Portland, Oregon. And glad you could join us. A little quick intro about me. I've been meditating for about 7 years. Like most people, I turned to meditation in a time of crisis when things seemed to be going sideways, or all my best intentions seemed to just be adding fuel to the problem and not solving things. My wife, Melissa, who will introduce herself next, she, yes, we're next to each other. Anyway, she had been meditating and I turned to meditation, and it was like the super drug, and it really changed things up big for me, for us. It suddenly, the teen years of our daughters started to get smoother, even though their actions weren't changing, but it was getting more smoothly. And that's how I got introduced and came on board to meditation. A couple of years ago, I decided to wrap up my corporate career, and Melissa and I opened up this studio. And it's been a great encore career, but really personal passion of mine, and a great way to keep engaged, keep reading, keep learning. We're brain science junkies. In fact, we'll of course kind of share a little brain science with y'all, and just continued area of study and meditation, and then with our studio being able to bring it to other people. So it's been a great experience for me that I hope keeps going on the rest of my life. With that, I'll turn it over to Melissa.
Nice rolling. So good to see you guys. Lots of familiar faces. This is kind of a head trip for me, because some of you guys are people that Jeff has talked about for years. I didn't expect I'd be meeting you on a Zoom meditation class. I thought we'd be having a beer somewhere before this happened. So, so here we are. Jeff and I have been together for about 10 years. And as I often say, when we don't teach together very often, getting married in your 40s with one woman in menopause and 2 kids in puberty, this is one of the bravest human beings on the planet I'm sitting next to. And, you come in, everybody sort of comes in with their little set in their ways and getting together. And kind of when I really picked my meditation practice back up was in 2008 during the recession, where I was the person in charge of deciding who to lay off and who to keep. And I got real creative for a year or so, but realized that I think I've told this story before, that I went to the dentist and I had ground off about $2,000 worth of dental work. I started teeth grinding and just started crying and said, I gotta do something. And I had been meditating with apps. I think the Calm app had been invented, and then some CDs that I had, and realized I need to step it up, and got a teacher and started working from there. And it really changed everything for me. I'm much more calm now. The kids like meditation mom. She's much more mellow. She's much less likely to threaten to put you in military school. She seems to cook a little better. She's a little more mellow. I still had to turn over teaching them to drive to someone else. I do need to have that much control. And I found that my right leg, from trying to step on the brake that wasn't there, was killing me. So I did have to turn that over. But one of the things that we really wanted to bring to the table, and I think some of you guys have been here with us multiple times, is that we want to, really show that meditation isn't weird. We don't sit around meditating and drinking green juice, although I am drinking green juice today, and we did meditate. We don't have a bunch of crystals laying around. We're not following the Bhagwan. We're actually just really normal people that meditate every day, and for the most part, and it helps keep us chill, but it's also really fended off. There's a lot of our contemporaries on here. really losing our minds at this time, but it's kept us in real states of neuroplasticity. And particularly at this time, we wanted to do some checking in and kind of talk about the state of the world. I don't know if you guys have noticed, it's pretty weird out there, but now we've been in for about 40 days. And so we're all starting to sort of, the daily routine is there. I don't know if you guys, I'm not sure if the warranty on our dishwasher covers this type of use. If I invest in dishwasher pods right now, there's a big market where we're just running the dishwasher, and it's meal after meal after meal and running the dishwasher. And we're sort of getting into, you know, in the desert, those sort of runnets that you see where the waters run and run and run, where, okay, this is my world, this is my world. And I think there's some agitation with it. There's some boredom in it. There's some over and over and over with it. And so part of meditation is really, first of all, that is meditation. I'm was on a call Tuesday night with my own teacher, and there were, you know, some of the best Buddhist minds in the United States were on there. I don't know how the hell I got in this group, but there's some great minds, and they were talking about how bored they were and how, you know, it's over and over and over. And I'm like, isn't this meditation? We've been training for this, kids. So we're gonna train a little bit on that today. But we're sort of in our practice, and what we're doing with our own students is we're telling people, if you're starting to feel that agitated numbness, dullness, you know, the shows aren't getting it anymore, the binge watching isn't getting it anymore, getting takeout isn't getting it anymore, because our level of stimulation is so low, just try changing it up at home. I have been trying to do the dishes with yeah, I'll have you jump in a second. Trying to do the dishes standing on one foot. Just, it's a little bit different. It changes my brain. It makes me do something different. I've been trying to do more things with my left hand rather than, you know, curing cancer or learning 14 new languages or, you know, inventing something on this break. I'm doing the dishes on one foot. I went through an hour yesterday and I tried not to move one finger and just did my little things to just change up my brain and get it excited. Sitting in a different seat in your house. If you've been sitting around the dinner table with your family, do a little musical chairs, change it up, man. See what it looks like from your kid's point of view, from your spouse's point of view, and change it up a little bit and encourage your brain to perk up. So you want to add to that?
Oh, no, it's a great topic, right? I mean, trying to push ourselves to do too much. I mean, I thought, wow, now's the time to try to learn Italian. And I went and found on my bookcase, here's these, you know, little Babel discs that have been sitting there for years. And I looked at them and I realized, oh, well, these were in Mac form. And I got rid of my Mac like 5 years ago. I'm back on PC. It's hilarious what we push ourselves towards. If you're finding that the real deep connecting conversations you have are on subjects like where best to stack the dirty dishes, is it in the sink or on the counter? Because that's usually quite a choice. And when you find you're really digging more into these just incredibly mundane and meaningless topics, it is time to give your brain a little bit of a break. Step out of the run. It's do something funny. You know, only wear pants during the even hours of the day. And the odd hours, you've got other options. In fact, I love that chart that says times that I'm happy, times that I'm wearing pants, and you realize there's no intersection. So, I mean, you know, discover these things. You can do it being easy on yourselves.
And we're talking a lot to our students about, you know, we have this expectation, oh, we have all this time, I'm gonna build raised garden beds and whatever. It's our take it down a notch. We're all very high achievers. Take it down a notch. Start with doing the dishes on one foot. Try something like that. And go really gentle on yourself. Because in this time where I call it cheese grater stress, where there's not a ton of stress anymore, but we're just getting slowly shaved away till there's only, till we're down to a nub. Meditation can help slow down that shaving and even stop it in some cases.
Yeah, so today we're going to dig into compassion and contemplative meditations. They're a little different than the focus and breath styles and techniques we've done before. they're pretty cool.
Yeah, you wanted me to lead the meditation?
Yeah,
Okay.
why don't you give us a short meditation so we can kind of settle in and start the chill process.
Okay, cool. And this meditation, it's quite a famous Buddhist meditation. And Jeff's going to talk a little bit about the evolution of contemplative meditation after this, but we thought we'd do a little bit of experiential and really get you to get it. And when I say compassion, how many of you guys are wincing a little bit? Like, ooh, I might get weak. Might not be tough anymore. How nice am I going to be? I don't know how much nice I have right now. The compassion is a huge factor. It doesn't really make you soft. It allows you to be a lot stronger. And the meditation practice of contemplation, Jeff's going to talk a little bit about the brain effects, but it's a little bit more difficult and it requires a little bit more focus sometimes. And we're going to start out with a really easy one. This is a very, very, for lack of a better word, popular meditation called Just Like Me. It's done, it's one of the kind of outside contemplative practice, but it's fun. It's easy to tune into. And right now, how many of you guys are judging? Ooh, that's not a very good mask. Ooh, you're too close to me. Oh, why are you touching that? Why are you doing that? Jeff and I had lots of judgment walking by the golf course yesterday. Oh, they're too close. Jeff was with not nice shot, and I was with, oh, they're too close. You know, we're in a lot of space of we're judging ourselves. If you go in the grocery store, it's like the world's most complicated game of Pac-Man, of trying to get away from people, and you're too close, and why aren't you paying attention to me? And that conversation continues to go. But really, we're all just humans that are trying to kind of get along in a world that looks very different to us. It's almost like we got in a spaceship and we landed on another planet. So to really bring that compassion into yourself, it's easy to be compassionate for our doctors, our nurses, our frontline workers, people that are ill, people that are trying to make decisions. It's less compassionate when your neighbor gets out the weed whacker for the 400th time and you're thinking maybe you'd like to whack them. It's a little more difficult. And then we're spending a lot of time together. And it can, even putting yourself in the other person's shoes. So this is an experiential meditation that's called Just Like Me. You may see this other places. We've recorded one on our website. I've done it with probably 10 teachers. It's different every time, but it really places you in the other person's shoes. So for those of you who haven't meditated, some of you guys have only meditated with us, which means your skills are perfect right now. You haven't been tainted by anyone else. If you haven't meditated with us, if you have thoughts, that's okay. We have 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day, a thought every second and a half. You've had 8 thoughts since I started talking about, and if I say donuts, now we're all thinking about donuts. Donuts are good, especially when you can't get them. Now we're really thinking about donuts, but we have all these thoughts. Also, if you're not used to sitting still, we've sat still a little bit more during the shelter in place, but sitting still and really being with yourself is sometimes not very comfortable. We're doers, we're human doings, we're not human beings, and we like to go, 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 go. I've never come home from work and Jeff has said, how did you be today? He always says, what did you do today? So we're very much doers. So if that happens, it's very, very natural. So we're gonna sit in this meditation. And I use it I use it quite often, and it's called Just Like Me. So I'm going to invite you guys to close your eyes. It's a lot easier to go inside, and I can pretty much do whatever I want while your eyes are closed. So drop your eyes closed, and let's come into our space and just begin to settle into our space in a little different way than we typically would. Normally, we're sort of running around the house, so we're going to ask you to settle down. So we're going to begin by resting your attention on your hands. How are your hands resting? How do they feel? You might notice that they're getting a little bit warm just thinking about them because you're noticing them. Might feel the warmth of where they're touching. You might even have the urge to move them because I'm talking about them. And if you get to be drawn by a sound, something that's in the background on my end, some sounds around you, something going on in your house, it's okay. Just say hands and come back to your hands. Let them sit easily wherever they are. If you do really want to move them, that's okay. And let's bring your attention to your sit bones, how you're resting on your sit bones, how you're resting on your chair, in your space. Kind of explore how you're resting your weight on that chair. How are you resting your weight? You can move around a little bit, make sure you're sort of centered. Then move your attention to your feet. How are your feet resting? They might be flat on the floor, tucked under you. Just feel your feet. Then rest your attention across those 3 points, your hands, your sit bones, and your feet. And just let yourself kind of come into the space. Let yourself unhook from whatever's going on in your life and begin to follow your breath. Just following it, however it flows. There's no right or wrong way to breathe. Just let that breath flow in and out and just follow it. When something becomes more interesting than your breath, and it probably will pretty quickly, it's okay. Just come on back to your breath, pick it up and follow it. Let's bring into your consciousness someone that maybe they're suffering or you're struggling with them. Maybe you've spent too much time with them. Maybe you've spent not enough time with them right now. But really if you're visual, you can picture them. If you're not super visual, just kind of think about them. There's no special way to do this. And I'm going to go through a series of phrases and just repeat them silently after me, just kind of holding space for this person and holding them in your consciousness. You might get a temptation to change. Oh, this other person would be better. Try to stick with first one, best one, but hold that person in your consciousness. This person has a body and a mind just like me. Just silently repeat that. This person has a body and a mind just like me. This person has feelings, emotions, and thoughts just like me. This person has experienced physical and emotional pain and suffering just like me. This person has at some time been sad, disappointed, angry, or hurt just like me. This person has felt unworthy or inadequate just like me. This person worries and is frightened sometimes just like me. This person misses their friends just like me. This person is learning about life just like me. This person wants to be caring and kind to others just like me. This person wishes to be free from pain and suffering, just like me. This person wishes to be safe and healthy, just like me. This person wishes to be happy, just like me. This person wishes to be loved, just like me. And take in a deep breath. I wish this person to have the strength, resources, and social support they need to navigate the difficulties in life with ease. I wish this person to be free from pain and suffering. I wish this person to be peaceful and happy. I wish this person to be loved because this person is a fellow human being just like me. And just continue to breathe and kind of hang out with that feeling of kindness toward this person. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. So pretty different, yeah? To hold that person in your space. Incredibly powerful meditation. Anyone feel a little bit lighter, kind of holding that person in your space? Just a little bit lighter. Yeah. And your eyes are closed, so it's okay to have feelings. You know, especially during this time. So it's a really lovely practice to especially, I mean, I've done it for certain administrators that are in charge of the country. When I'm watching press conferences, sometimes I can go that far, other times I can't go there if I'm extremely angry, but it's an incredibly gentle practice. So Jeff's going to talk a little bit about the evolution of contemplative practice, and particularly the evolution of this particular practice. You ready?
I can give it a go, and please feel free to add in if I miss some points, because you're a better storyteller than I am. But I think the first traces of this type of contemplative meditation goes all the way back to the Buddha. He had a group of his students who were monks, and he instructed them to go off on a meditation retreat, which were in India, so in the woods. And this group of monks went out and they sat down and took up space in the woods and for their retreat. But when nightfall came, the size of the trees, the noise in the forest, just the uncertainty of all the sounds, frightened the bejesus out of these monks. And they packed up and walked back into town and confronted Buddha and said, "We're scared. This is. We don't think we can do this." And he looked at them and he said, "Well, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go turn around and go right back out in the woods, and you're going to sit together, and you're going to say these phrases: May we be safe. May we be happy. May we be healthy, and may we live with ease." And you're going to offer these phrases first to yourselves, then to each other. Then you're going to offer it to the trees around you, and then to the animals in the forest. And you're going to widen your circle of your offering, and then you'll come back to yourselves. And so the monks went back and took up their positions, and they found that by doing this and sitting with each other and offering these phrases, they were able to make it safely through the night. And so that's my understanding of the story.
Mm-hmm. And they're pretty primitive people, so there are lots of spooks and ghosts, and that's where this practice was born. That's sort of the story behind it. Kind of where it came in for me was my prior husband was on a plane coming back from someplace. And if you live in Portland, we play the Who Do You Know at Intel game, because Intel's the biggest game in town. Intel, Adidas, Nike, who do you know? And it is really 6 degrees of Portland. And he sat next to someone who worked for Intel, and they were chatting and they were having a drink together. He's very chatty. They were having a drink together, and they started on Who Do You Know at Intel? And one of our best friends' name came up, and the guy literally turned away, picked up a book, and did one of these. And that was the rest of the flight. And we're like, oh my gosh, our friend is that person no one wants to work with. That's the person that when they walk in a meeting, you go, oh God. But she's so great and she's our friend. How could this be? And I really started to open my eye and say, wow, the people that I can't stand at work, they have friends, they have families. If they have kids, somebody likes them enough to have a kid with them. They are actually a person outside of this person that I see at work. And we do tend to sort of assign people. I don't know if you've ever run into somebody who's a barista that you go to, you run into them at the store and you're like, oh my God, why aren't you making coffee right now? Like, what are you doing shopping? I've run into students at the store, and I actually had a student say, oh, you eat? And I'm like, yeah, I shop at the grocery store and eat. I buy toilet paper, whatever. We tend to sort of bucket people, and this compassion practice really is a wide open practice. This particular practice that we teach is called the metta word is the Pali word, which is the Sanskrit predate, is metta, which means loving kindness. There's not a great translation for it into English, but it really means making friends with yourself. So we kind of say accepting your own friend request. We think our friends are so interesting, but they think that we're interesting too. And it's finding out what's interesting and great about you, which as most people are like, don't brag, don't be high on yourself. It can hurt your ears a little bit to say, wow, I'm thinking what's great about me or becoming friends with myself. So you want to talk a little bit about the three?
Well, I was going to let you roll with that, but I stumbled across something kind of interesting in doing a little research for this. And that is that when in the 70s, when some of the big Eastern monks and masters came to the U.S. in an attempt to kind of share and bring these Eastern traditions to the United States. The Dalai Lama was this, I think it was his quote. He said, you know, in our language, in other languages, the term compassion means not only others, but it includes the self. I come here to the West and I realize that I have to add another word, self-compassion, to bring me into the picture, that compassion in our culture didn't seem to include ourselves. I found that interesting.
And how it's altered me quite a bit. I know it's altered Jeff. You know, we tend to really, and we talked about this if you've been in the other meditation trainings with us, of how much we beat up on ourselves. Anything that happens, we're immediately down on ourselves. Why did you do that? Why did you say that? Why did you wear that? Why did you buy that? No one wakes up in the middle of the night congratulating themselves on what a great life they're having. We're constantly questioning ourselves, and the power of this contemplative practice is, first, we're so much kinder to other people. Second, we're so much kinder to ourselves. And it probably should be flipped, but that's how it worked for me. For some reason, I took a bowl into the bathroom the other day and I knocked it down on the floor instead of saying, what the hell's wrong with you? Who puts a bowl in a bathroom? You knew that was going to break. I was like, wow, well, I didn't break the tile. Got out the broom and brushed it off. That's the difference, that I don't spend that time second guessing myself all the time. And that type of chill has really paid off with my kids. It's paid off with my relationships. It's paid off when anything happens. I knew that I had really gone through some changes when, with my prior husband, he tore his shoulder skiing. And instead of saying, oh, we're off skiing, instead of blah, 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 I said, oh my gosh, is there anything I can do? Can I take you to the doctor? And even he was visibly shook that I had become so nice. Now, I didn't hand over my car keys and say, why don't you take my car for the rest of your life? I came right in the middle, so I haven't gotten super soft on that, but I'm much kinder, and particularly kinder to myself. So Jeff's going to talk a little bit about, you ready to talk about the brain?
Yeah.
We love the brain. Who doesn't?
Yeah, we love the brain. So our last session, we also had a little discussion about the brain, but that was more in line with different meditation techniques. So last week we were on focus and breath that really are the attempt there, or the purpose is to really broaden our awareness and give us the ability to focus and pay attention. That's a skill. It lights up a whole different circuitry of the brain than contemplative, which really hits different brain centers that have to do with empathy, which is sort of the mental act of understanding a person's situation and circumstances, and beginning to emotionally kind of feel them. And these brain studies were actually looking at contemplative practices like metta, kind of like the one we just did, Just Like Me, where our focus is on others and not so much on concentration on an object or our breath. And so the findings were pretty interesting. First and foremost, after simply doing 7 minutes of a contemplative practice, much like the short meditation we just had, it will induce feelings, and I'm quoting, get this, it'll boost not only good feelings, but it also increases our sense of social connection. So 7 minutes, it creates, so you really kind of like working a gym, doing curls to exercise a bicep. This compassion meditation really activates these centers of the brain. 7 minutes. A second study, they took volunteers, not seasoned meditators, for a period of 90 days. They taught them how to do the metta meditation, and they instructed them simply for 20 minutes a day to sit down and do metta, offer the phrases to themselves, pick a family member, pick a neutral person, and pick someone who's difficult. After 90 days, they found out that feelings of distress, burnout, kind of emotional exhaustion were completely reduced, significantly reduced, that these strengthening our circuits for loving concern and opening a connection, I guess, to our heart, which is really a true physical connection, meant that that we were increasing feelings of safety, we were increasing our resilience, and we were increasing our sense of connections. What I found astounding is that 7 years later, out of curiosity, the person conducting the study was able to round up the majority of the people who had participated, and he put them through the same kind of tests and found that their results had been sustained, that this wasn't a simple, I worked out in the gym for 90 days, I got a little tone, and then did nothing for the next 7 years. And of course, I had no tone left. That this meditation had actually altered the brain enough for it to become a new trait in their person, and not a simple passing fancy. So that's pretty amazing. The next thing is simply that our brain ages and our cerebral cortex shrinks, and they were able to prove that meditators that had been, I guess, seasoned meditating over time, their brain mass, particularly the cerebral cortex, was in the 95 to 99th percentile compared to people their age, and then their age demographics that weren't meditating. So, as we get up in years, we're looking at dementia and Alzheimer's, and we don't know the causes, but meditating will certainly help our brains.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
We probably want to do some questions real quick.
Oh, before the meditation?
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah, so we'll throw in a couple questions there, and we're actually going to do, of course, we want to do a compassion meditation. Rather than talking about how great it is doing it, we're going to do a short compassion meditation, which can be quite powerful for people, but this is the thing that you can do for seven minutes a day and really increase your compassion. There was a question from Mark, and I know Mark stepped out for a second. You can set up these loving kindness. You look for 2 words, loving kindness or metta, if you're on Insight Timer, which is our preferred app for meditation or on the Calm app, you can actually set up these meditations, and there's some guided ones in there. They are incredibly powerful. So look under Metta, METTA, or Loving Kindness. And that's typically one word rather than two words, but you'll see it both ways. So, or we'll hang with some questions. I think we want to hop into this meditation. I don't see any in the chat, but Jenna, you can tell me if I missed anything. I don't think I missed anything. So, guys, ready to do a little compassion meditation? One thing that I want to throw in really quick is one of our favorite authors and teachers, whose name is Mingpa Rinpoche. They put him on an MRI machine. This guy's been doing it for about 20 years. And they thought the MRI machine was broken because it lit up so many happiness areas of his brain, and it was so profound in his brain. They put him on 3 MRI machines, and it was all the same readout. So this is, if you're looking to increase your happiness in life and your satisfaction in life, it's not that Maserati. You can send that to me. I like fast cars. But it's really this practice and bringing this practice into your life. So let's get after it. This is a lot more guided. If you've been here with us before, it's a lot more guided. So we're going to drop right into it. You guys are already pretty chill, already pretty relaxed. So let your eyes float closed. And I see I've got a question in here. I'll hit those afterwards. I see that question. So let your eyes float closed and just come back to those 3 points of contact that we did before: your hands, your sit bones, and your feet. And really come into your space. Just being there, being in the moment, letting your breath flow, following your breath as gently as possible, and just seeing how it feels to sit and take one breath all the way in and all the way out, and follow it. Let's begin with ourselves, and you're just going to silently repeat these phrases after me. These phrases are 2,600 years old. We're not going to do a lot of changing of them, but you're offering them to yourself. May I be safe. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. May I be safe, be happy, be healthy, and live with ease. Let's just repeat those for a minute or two, just seeing how that feels to offer them to yourself. May I be safe, be happy, be healthy, and live with ease. And then let's bring into your consciousness, either by picturing them or just thinking about them, somebody that you really like. Someone that's got that, yeah, I like that person. And go with first one, best one. Try not to shop. I know it's hard. Bring that person into your consciousness. If you're visual, you can seat them across from you. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy, and live with ease. Just offer them those phrases. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy, live with ease. gently let that person go. Bring into your consciousness someone you know is suffering right now. Maybe they're alone. Maybe this pandemic has been very hard on them. Just kind of hold them in your consciousness and hold them in your space. And offer them the same phrases. May you be safe. Be happy. Healthy. And live with ease. And bring your attention out to all the people who are suffering right now. Whether we know them or not, whether we've read about them, seen them on TV, or we're thinking about them, let's spread our attention out to all of them. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy, and live with ease. And bring your attention back to your breath and kind of back into your space. It's a big practice, so bring yourself back to your breath and back to your space. Just let your attention go to your breath. It's a very powerful practice, so thank you for participating in it. And while we were extending those metaphrases, offering those metaphrases all around the world, people were offering them to us. You're now in the secret club. So when you feel ready, let your eyes open. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. You're in the club now. Really powerful practice, yeah? And you can feel yourself get really big when we go out. It can be, that's a lot when we first do it. That was a very short practice of it, but it's a great practice that even, I don't know if you guys heard there was a garbage truck banging out here. Just out of habit, I shifted over. May the garbage truck man be happy, be safe, be free, live with ease. If someone's, you know, goes by and they have their music, it's almost like a little ray gun that I'm shooting all the time. Whether it's a neighbor that I'm happy to see, I'm not happy to see. Even when I'm teaching in corporate, I teach people to go like this, may you be happy. And then there's a little cult inside of the corporate that they go, may you be happy. When you see that person really suffering, you're walking by that homeless person on the street and you feel that ache in your heart, even may your suffering ease, just putting in one of those phrases. Very, very, very powerful.
Yeah, and it also applies to yourself, which was the biggest effect initially on me. And I find that as if something pops up and I leave the house maybe to walk into an errand, I'm halfway to where I am, and I realize, oh gosh, I didn't bring a mask. My next thought isn't to start throwing darts, you dummy. I mean, it's like and beating up myself. You realize, well, okay, I forgive myself and go on about the thing and just try to be extra careful or really cognizant that people are suffering. Yeah, it starts with yourself.
So to hop into the questions, and feel free to ask questions. We're open for any question. It doesn't have to be about the loving kindness practice. You're not throwing us off if you want to ask us a question. So getting away from the habit of multitasking from Dan. It's the noticing. Instead of saying I'm doing too many things at a time, I'm just noticing, oh, I'm doing 3 things. Let me pick one and finish that one. It's the noticing. That's the mindfulness. Once you become mindful, we were just talking about that in my Buddhist class. Once you become mindful, you're kind of screwed because then you're mindful the rest of your life. You notice, oh, wow, I'm really wrapped up in this. Or when you're listening to someone and then you realize you're not listening to them. And you're like, I can't even catch back up to just say, hey, I drifted for a minute. Can you start back over? And they'll probably be grateful that you noticed that you weren't listening to them and didn't just try to catch up and fake it till you make it. That's where that mindfulness piece really comes in. So does that answer your question, Dan? It's just noticing that. Anybody else want to fire any questions? You can come off mute and just ask us if you want to. You don't have to type it in there. Do I ever record for Insight Timer? I think that's a good question for Jeff. Jeff's my sound, he's my sound guy. Have we put him on there?
Well, we have many ready. I started going through the process and ran into a little bit of an obstacle, and I think I let other priorities kind of push ahead of it. So we haven't, and that is something. I appreciate the reminder. That's something we want to pick up and do. So thank you for the reminder. That's a ball on the ground that I need to pick up.
But we are on SoundCloud. So I think we have 10 on SoundCloud. So Mark asks, can you recommend meditation apps that you like? We like Insight Timer a lot. It keeps track of everything. There's like thousands and thousands of teachers on there. The caution with apps is you spend a lot of time shopping. Oh, I don't want a female voice. I don't want anybody with oh, this person pops their peas. I don't want to deal with a guy. I don't like the music. And pretty soon you've blown through all your meditation time. And then, oh, tomorrow I've got the perfect meditation picked out for tomorrow. And then tomorrow you're like, well, I do want to hear a woman today. So find something to stick with it. It's really easy in this part of meditation is to, particularly when you first start, as we kind of say, you won't find water if you dig a lot of 3-foot holes. So try to stick with something for a little bit, commit to a teacher on Insight Timer, or commit to someone who leads meditation on Insight Timer for like a month and see how that goes. I've seen Calm a little bit, and I think there's a couple more, but that's typically the one we'll go to. Untangle, that's another one. Any other, let's see, meditation apps, any other questions? Because I'll just make you meditate more. This has been an incredible, when I first learned about this, probably 8 or 9 years ago, most people who were teaching contemplative meditation were like, I would never teach this in corporate. I taught it to the most brutal law firm in Portland, Oregon, and they loved it. and it was the thing that they requested most and seemed to enjoy the most. I did a 6-part series at just a brutal litigation firm here. And I thought, you know what? I may as well jump all the way into the pond. And it was the first time I had gone really hardcore on corporate compassion. It was super fun. But you can do it while you're, you know, whatever, you're watching the news, you're watching TV, even as you're in the grocery store, where right now I think there's a lot of tension. If you're in the grocery store, everybody's sort of masked up and ready, but you almost feel guilty for going to the store. Even just standing there with the clerk, rather than trying to chat through your masks or try to make it more comfortable, you can just breathe out, may your suffering ease, may you be safe, be happy, be healthy, live with ease. It's a nice mantra when you're playing Pac-Man going through the grocery store. You just can take your feet, happy, healthy, happy, healthy, happy, healthy. That's a better mantra than get out of my way before I kill you. Just a little happy, healthy, and it doesn't make you soft and it doesn't make you gentle, and I promise you won't accidentally get into a cult. You want to add anything? Oh, Glenn's you got a question, Glenn?
Yeah, I just was going to quickly ask, I forget which one of you mentioned the linkage, the studying that's going on between meditating and brain health and Alzheimer's and dementia. My mom is in memory care, and which, you know, there's really no family history of it, but it's brought it very much to the front for our family. So just really interested in that, and any resources you guys know of, or further, you know, insights into that. I'd be, you know, real interested in learning about that.
Put that book in.
Yeah, I'm going to put in the book's called Altered Traits, Glenn. I'm going to type it into the chat room by Daniel Goleman and Richie Davidson.
And it's about always challenging your brain, you know, trying, and it doesn't have to be, oh my gosh, I'm going to learn a language, or it's time for me to pick up the cello. It is standing on one foot, or changing something around, or Jeff and I bought this funky drum, and we were trying to learn how to play it off YouTube videos, and you could literally, there was smoke coming out of my ears because my brain was like, woo! And I could feel that neuroplasticity increasing. So changing it up, even with something like that, taking a new route, reading a different type of book than you normally read. If you're, you know, huge on historical novels, flip over and read something different. When I can't remember what that app came out that you played with it, and it was supposed to increase your neuroplasticity. Don't tell me. It just makes you better at playing video games. It's changing up other things, whether it's in athletics, using a different hand. We want to constantly be stimulating our brains. And also, there's a wonderful book, put in the telomere effect, called The Telomere Effect. Do I have time to talk about this? Okay, good. I have time to talk about it. On the end of the DNA, just briefly, and this is Elizabeth Blackburn, who won a Nobel for this research about 20 years ago. We're getting some weird feedback. That on the end of the DNA strands it's a little strand, a little piece that comes off the end of the DNA strands. It's very similar to the little thing on the end of your shoelace, that plastic thing. Those come off the ends of your DNA strands, and those are your telomeres. And if they're very, very long, you're replicating cells at a much more robust rate than your cells are currently at. If they're short, then you're replicating your DNA at a rate that is more degraded. So when you see someone who, you know, they're going through something terrible and all of a sudden they start to look awful, that's reflected. Their telomerase drops and their telomeres get shorter and they look awful. Conversely, when you see someone who suddenly looks great, they've gotten a new job, maybe they got a much needed divorce or whatever has changed in their life, the telomeres increase and they're actually replicating DNA that's much more robust. And if you dive into the telomere effect, which if you are looking at Alzheimer's, any dementia, any brain related, age related, it's a tremendous book. It talks about how to really increase the length of your telomeres. And you see people look amazing that have done some of the things in the book to bring their cortisol down, bring their stress down. Stress is it's a huge ager. Not that you can prevent it 100%, but this is the time to head it off, is now. by doing these practices and really taking care of our brains.
Yeah. And one last point, I posted the book, but the first book about the brain science altered traits, the whole premise of the book was these two authors, one whom is the scientist, and the other, Daniel Goleman, is a writer, a journalist, but was one part of the original kind of 1970s group of Americans that went to India to discover meditation. Their whole premise was to discover whether or not meditating changed the brains in permanent ways. That it, unlike the psychedelic drugs, as Daniel Goleman will say, unlike the psychedelic drugs that allow me to really get in touch with myself and my inner God and my wisdom, in the morning when I wake up, I'm still the same schmuck I was the night before before I dropped the acid. They really wanted to know, wow, is it permanent? Is it a change in becoming a new trait as opposed to a simple change in state? So it's a fun read because not only do you learn the science, you kind of learn a little bit about a history of how did some of these Eastern philosophies and meditation come to the U.S. and it's pretty fun.
I have a question about the type of meditation that you want to pick. So, fun fact, I'm currently in Fairfield, Iowa. We are known as a cult meditation town because allegedly a third of the population here meditates, and then that's because we have a very famous university called Maharishi University of Management, which is founded by followers of this very famous guy named Maharishi Yogi, and then he sort of turned the Beatles into his followers. So everybody there practices meditation, and the dining hall is completely vegetarian. The reason why I said it's a cult is because some of the computer science majors, as I know, there have to take meditation as a mandatory course, which kind of seems odd to me. And I don't really know many other students on campus, but also I was a little hesitant because I've read about the benefits of meditation, but I've also talked to people there. Some of them are even professors that teach at the university, and they were telling me that you should not get a vaccine because it's a scheme by the U.S. federal government and big pharma to poison the U.S. like to poison the American people. So like hearing things like that kind of makes me a little nervous about trying out like their specific type of meditation, which is not so similar to this guided session because they're very big on mantras, like chanting mantras, like almost shouting or yelling them. And I know that there are probably multiple different genres of meditation, if you may. And I just wanted to know, like, when you guys were starting out, how did you figure out what was the best, and how did you make sure that you don't get actually into a cult?
And that's a great question. And you are from, I mean, we're very familiar with Maharishi Yogi, and
Yeah.
my teacher descends from that. So I actually come
Okay.
from there.
Okay.
But there's 50 shades of crazy in kind of every place. You find the people that are very moderate, just like there's, super right-wing Christians and super left-wing people. You find the people that are moderate because the mantra meditation is a very, very powerful meditation. But if it's flipping you out, I would look elsewhere. But if you can look for the moderates, that is a very, very powerful form of meditation. And we see it in Buddhism. I mean, first of all, there's a ton of abuse and areas of Buddhism that we're like, oh my gosh. And there's some very culty Buddhist people. Right. We're out here by where the Rajneesh were. So we totally get it. I mean, you were in the heart of it. I've read the books about it, and they're great to kind of get a feel for it. Just look for the moderates and look what feels good to you. If it doesn't feel too good to you, it's good to move on.
Okay.
But there should be some really good teachers out there that aren't too far over. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I bet. I just never dare like seeking it out because of, the whole or the other aspects of things that I've heard from people that are actually actively practicing it. So.
And particularly with TM, people tend to wince. When you go TM, they're like, ugh, because it has such a reputation that it is a tremendously powerful way to meditate. It's kind of like not throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Say that again, I'm sorry?
It's kind of like not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. But look for the moderates that are in there.
Okay. Right, and really a final base point, meditation is completely its own separate thing. Meditation is not religious. And now it's a technique that's used by plenty of religions, and if you'd and it doesn't need to be that way, as Melissa said. It has some, and the different types again are not beholden to or sort of franchised, if you will, by these religions.
And feel free to email us if you find a teacher that you feel is pretty moderate. Feel free to email me and I'll check them out for you. And if you want some additional resources, just email us. Jeff will throw it in the chat. And we are very, very happy to answer questions. We love to get people to meditate, and we love to kind of take, especially if people have that cult mentality, we love to help you sort of get past that and find out what's worked for you. That's my dream job.
Thank you so much. You're so kind, Melissa, and thank you, Jeff, as well.
Thanks.
Oh, you bet. You bet. Yeah, we have run over time. Thank you all for staying with us. We were really psyched to be together and meditate together today, and give ourselves a little bit of compassionate chill.
Yes, thank you both so much for coming back. It was another great session. I want to encourage anyone who didn't get a chance to sign in through our chat feature to add your name, year, and where you are tuning in from. It's really helpful for us to keep track of that. Otherwise, thank you all. I hope you have a great day, and yeah, thanks for coming back.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye, everybody.
Email us if you need anything.
Great to see you, Glenn.
Thank
Bye,
you,
Moochie.
Jeffrey. You too, buddy. Bye, Melissa.
Bye,
Thank
Cherie.
you.
Bye, Jeff. Great to see you.
Bye.
Hi, everyone.